My name is Chuck Petropoulos, and I'm your host for the Amiga Professional Tutorial Series. This one is entitled The Ultimate Amiga Guide to Video Production, Volume 2. Although all the information is suitable for the home user, it's designed specifically for professional applications. In it, I take you step by step, from installing the Super VHS Genlock inside your system, to tutorials on TV Text Professional, TV Show, Broadcast Titler, and Pro Video Post, allowing you a complete system of titling and animation to be utilized in your video production studio. I've also included a 2-disc set of animations and backgrounds that I show you how to create on the tape. And if you find there's a little too much information to absorb at one time, or you become a little bored, then fast forward to Amiga TV, TV like only the Amiga can produce. The recommended system to be used for this application is an Amiga 2000 with a hard drive, preferably a minimum of 40 megabytes, 2 internal disk drives, and 3 megabytes of RAM. To help me explain the technical aspects of video production, I've enlisted the aid of my friend Carl, a professional video producer with over a decade of experience, renowned for breaking ground in the DTV field. Unfortunately, his latest attempt at cutting-edge technology has left him in rather an awkward position. But let's see if we can contact him now. Carl. Come in, Carl.
Oh, I hate when that happens. Chuck, it's shift return. Thanks. What do you need today, Chuck?
I need you to help me explain to these people about the technical aspects.
Oh, I'm not taking them through it again. You're going to help this time.
Carl, please. There's people...
Come on, let's go.
All right, let's go. The Digital Creations 2000S Genlock, featuring YC, is designed for the 2000 line of Amiga computers, comprised of a board that inserts into the internal video slot, a remote control console, a breakout box, manual, and software provided. To begin, place the computer on a safe work area. Ground yourself by touching the metal chassis. Next, remove the 2 screws from each side, the 2 screws holding the left rear cover plate, and 3 screws from the power supply. Slide the cover forward and expose the video slot to the right of the power supply. Take the SuperGen board, insert it gently but firmly into the 2 slots. It should appear as shown. Next, on the left rear, align the breakout box, the blue DB25 connector, to be inserted into the connector as shown. Insert that until it locks firmly. Then take your screws, beginning with the upper right. Screw them in sequential order. The last 2 screws affixing the board to the rear. Then slide the top back on. Reconnect all the screws. Next, take the DB9 connector from the remote console and screw that on to the upper left. Installation now complete.
Video equipment referred to in this videotape is Super VHS. The component signal we refer to is the YC signal. The principle is the same in 3/4 inch. You would only need to transcode to dub 688 with a transcoder. This process will be discussed in tape 4. There are 2 methods which we may use to key characters from our character generation programs to video. The least expensive and most common is the composite method. Composite video is the signal used by video equipment at the video input terminal. This signal is a combination of color, chroma, luminance, luma, and sync, timing. The drawback of this method is that by combining signals, we introduce impurities into the signal. Each successive generation or copy adds more impurities to the signal. An example of what happens can easily be demonstrated with your equipment. Load the color bar screen from your SuperGen program disk. Compare the computer monitor with a video monitor. Make sure the video monitor is in the composite or video mode. Note the reds and the edges of the colors. Now flip to Component or YC mode. You should see a difference. The SuperGen Genlock we installed allows us to operate in the component or composite mode. By operating in the component mode, we can keep all of the components, chroma, luma, sync, etc., separate. By eliminating NTSC impurities, we can record a signal of higher resolution and much better color. On your Super VHS machine, this would be the YC input. Aliasing is the stair-stepping that may appear on the curve or diagonal of a character. The programs demonstrated in this videotape all incorporate anti-aliasing. Anti-aliasing is the changing or adding of pre-selected pixels to a character edge so that it appears smoother. The resolution you use will also affect the final product. High-resolution overscan gives the best results. On software products with a limited amount of anti-aliasing, you can perform a little of your own. The grayscale works in most cases. For example, if your character is video white with values of R12, G12, and B12, an outline of gray R8, G8, B8 will make the character appear smoother. The results must be checked on a composite NTSC monitor. The high-resolution RGB monitor will still look jagged. The color of the background and the character color will affect the final look. Colors other than the grayscale may have to be experimented with. We have tried to eliminate some of the problems by choosing software products with excellent anti-aliasing. Technical people in the video and computer industry love to talk specs. It seems as soon as you mention that you're using your computer as a character generator, the phrase nanoseconds of resolution is mentioned. This is the method used to compare character generators. This measurement is the length of time it takes the sweeping electron beam in your TV to go from the brightness of the background to the brightness of the character. The more time it takes, the fuzzier your letters. This also means you must use less detailed, larger type. True high-end systems usually have a resolution of 35 nanoseconds or less. Most Amiga products have a resolution of 80 nanoseconds or less. There are many references to the term color zero when discussing character generation. Color zero is the color located in the zero position of the color palette. This is the color that the Genlock sees as transparent. It can be any color, as you can see. If I change color zero to another color, that color becomes transparent. Be careful when changing colors not to use color zero position on anything except the areas that you want transparent. A common mistake when black is color zero is to use that same black as the shadow color instead of copying black to another color position. In the 3 programs discussed, color zero is different in each. It is very important to understand the color zero concept because it can be very useful in production. For example, let's use this simple technique to make an open window in the background. To install TV Text Professional on your hard drive, double-click the TVT Pro disk icon, click the empty drawer, move to rename empty TVT Pro, click the TVT Pro drawer, and transfer the icons from the disk window into the TVT Pro window. Close the TVT Pro window and open the appropriate partition in your hard drive. Reposition the window, click the front-back gadget, and move the TVT Pro drawer into your hard drive window. This will transfer the files to your hard drive partition. The latest version features 736 by 480 severe overscan. Press the right mouse button and display the menu bar. Select Text and Fonts. Select Euro from the font requester, and that brings up the font size box. We'll select 61. Press the right mouse button again. That displays the menu bar. We'll move over to Text. We'll move down to Justify, and that'll show us our Justify menu. Justification can be left, center, free, right, or grid. We have keyboard controls to control justification. Let's justify left. Press the right mouse button. That will bring back the menu bar. Let's move over to the render, and we'll move down to preferences. Now that we've selected text and we've selected justification, we'll call up our preference requester and we'll select a preference for our text. The preference requester contains preferences for text. You can assign the most used preferences to the 10 function keys on the keyboard. Let's step down through the preferences. We'll select the preference assigned to the F1 key by moving to F1 and clicking the left mouse button. Click Use. Click the right mouse button. Brings the menu back. Move over to Render, move down to Text, and that brings up the render box. In the render box we have Cancel, which cancels the box, Clear, which clears the text, two gadgets to expand or contract the text, L, which brings the last line typed, View, which lets us view our preference, and Render, which renders the text. We'll type in some text. We use the Expand gadget to expand the text. We use the Contract gadget to compress the text, compressing it to the point where the letters run together. And let's return it to its original position. We'll click View, and that'll let us view our preference. And if we're happy with that preference, we can move down into the box and click Render, and that will render our text. When the text comes up on the screen, there'll be two other gadgets, a push pin or a trash can. We can move the text by pressing the left mouse button and move the text up and down the left margin. We can't move it anywhere else on the screen because we've selected left justification. We'll position the text at the top. We use the trash can function to discard the text by pushing the right mouse button when the trash can appears, and that will discard our text. We'll move back up to the render box. We'll call back that line of text by pushing L. That brings back the last line typed. We'll hit Render, and this time that will position it on the screen. We'll move it up, press the push pin, right mouse button, and that pastes our text down on the screen. We'll move to typing in our second line of type. We'll push Render, and that will render our text just below the line we've previously pasted. We'll position that, press the right mouse button when the push pin appears, cancel the render box, and we've now pasted two lines of type on our screen. If we'd like to position the type in another spot, we push the right mouse button, move up to Justify. This time we'll move over and we'll select Free Justification. That will allow us to put our type anywhere on the screen. Push the right mouse button, move up to the Edit box, select Cut. When the crosshairs appear, move them to the upper left of the character. Drag your box over the complete line of type you want to move, release the mouse button, and reposition the type wherever you would like. When you're ready, push the right mouse button. We'll go to Cut again, and we'll move this time the word Generation. We'll position that to the right of character. Once again, push pin, right mouse button. This time we'll remove both lines of text, move to Cut, position the crosshairs, drag the box over both lines of text, release the mouse button, and push the left mouse button this time and move the text to wherever you'd like to see it on the screen. Because we're in free justification, you're not limited to moving it up and down against the left margin. You can place it in the upper right-hand corner or the lower left-hand corner, whatever suits your application. When we found our spot, we select the push pin, the right mouse button, and that pastes our text down. We remove the cursor by pressing right Amiga, period. Let's clear the screen. We'll move to the screen, flood color 0, which will bring our gray background back. And this time, we'll try to render some text with some different preferences. We'll press the right mouse button, brings the menu bar. We'll go to Render, Prefs. That'll bring up our preference requester. We'll move down through the preference requester and select a new preference, which will be gold bar. Click Use. Click Render Text, L for last line, and that will bring back generation. We'll now select View, and that will let us view our preference on the gray background so that we can see what it's going to look like before rendering. As you can see, we've got a gold bar. If we're happy, we'll click Render, and that will render the text onto the screen. Once again, in free justification, we can place the text anywhere on the screen by pushing and holding the left mouse button and moving it to where we'd like to position it. Stick it down. This time we'll go to the render preference again, and we'll find a new preference. We'll move down this time to Cast 12, which is a cast shadow. We'll click Use, click L, which brings back the last line of type, and render. That renders the text with our preference. We'll move that, position it, stick it down. We'll push the right mouse button. We'll go back to the preference requester again. This time we'll move down through the preferences and we'll select another. This time we'll select Rainbow Shadow. We'll stake that down. Do one more preference. Move down to Preference. Move through your preference requester. We'll pick Extruded 5. We'll click Use, and we'll render that. Holding our left mouse button, we'll position it on the screen. When the push pin comes up, we'll click the right mouse button and we'll stick it down. And that gives us 3 different preferences for the same font and same word. If we want to position all lines of type, we'll click Right Amiga X, drag our box around all the type, and position it anywhere we'd like to on the screen by holding the left mouse button. When we find our placement, we'll go to the push pin, click the right mouse button, and that will paste the text in that spot. To remove the cursor, it's a Right Amiga, period. To edit a preference, move into the menu bar, select Preferences, go to the Preference Requester, select the preference you wish to edit. In this case, it'll be Extruded 5. Click Edit. That will bring up a second box which says Use Screen or Preference Palette. We'll use the preference. That brings up the Edit Requester. As you can see, that shows us the color. It gives us a sample of the preference and tells us what kind of fill we're going to be using in the face. If we select by pushing the right mouse button the color, that brings up the color palette. From there, we can change the color of the face by selecting one of the colors in the palette. Okay. We'll select blue. We'll click the Close gadget. Now we'll move on to the outline. We click Outline. That shows us the color of our outline, the depth, and the style. We've selected Extruded, and we can see that it's extruded by the sample in the corner. This time we'll click Shadow. That gives us our shadow color. Gives us our shadow type, which is selected as transparent. We can change the depth of our shadow by clicking the up or down arrow. Now the number is larger, the shadow is farther away. If it's smaller, it's closer to the object. So we'll click it to 20. Now we'll select a different type of shadow. We'll move over to Cast. We'll click Cast. We can change the direction of the light of the shadow by clicking Light, and that shows us a light bulb icon. And as we move around and click each one, we can move the direction of the light so it throws the shadow to the lower right or lower left. We'll click it in the original position, which is the right. We'll click Use. You can see that the sample now has taken our new preference and shows the shadow as a cast shadow much farther away. We're going to use that, so we'll click Use. We're going to click the right mouse button. That'll take us back to Render. We're going to render some text this time. L for the last line, and Render, which will render generation in our newly edited preference. Holding the left mouse button, we'll move that to a new position on the screen. We can see that it's a cast shadow instead of a transparent. Click the right mouse button when the push pin is showing to fasten it down. We'll compare that with our preference. We'll edit another preference, by this time over-exaggerating the outline to 20, and that gives us a very deep letter. As you can see, the outline is over-exaggerated, our original preference, and cast shadow. This time we'll be keying characters over live video. Let's select Render Text, type in the word Equipment. We're still in the extruded font. Render. Hold the left mouse button and position the text on the screen. Push the right mouse button with the push pin. Cancel the render box. Left Amiga period will remove the pointer. Position your graphics and background sliders to key text over your video. To generate a background, push the right Amiga key, move up to the screen block, move down to dither, and select a pattern. That brings up the palette. Now you must select a range of colors for your dither. If you move through, you'll see that the pink line changes as you move each range. We're going to select range 1, which is the preference range for all browns. Click the close gadget, and the screen will start to dither. We've selected the diagonal dither. The diagonal will occur after the screen is completed. We'll save the screen to disk using the Save Screen block. We'll select the drive we're using. We'll type in the name of the file. This one we'll call Sample Screen. Press OK, and that will save our screen. Click the right mouse button, bring back the menu bar. We'll move over to Text and Fonts. That will bring up our font requester. We'll select a new font, Swiss. We'll select a size of 77. We'll select Render Text. That will bring our render box back. We'll type in Sample Screen. We'll click Render. First we'll click our preference, which is F1, and that will bring back a white type with a black drop shadow. Clicking F1 shows it to you on the screen. We'll hit Render. Holding the left mouse button, we'll position that in the center of the screen. We'll click the right mouse button with the push pin, and that will paste the text down. Cancel the render box. Now we'll try moving the type using the cut. Position the crosshairs, drag the box over the type, release the button, and you'll see that this time we've cut the screen also. What we need to do when we want to move type on a screen that we've created is to lock the screen. So let's flood the screen. We'll call back our sample screen file. We'll load it as is. Click OK. And our sample screen is back. We'll move up to the screen block. We'll move down this time to lock background. And we'll click that. We'll move back to render text. Hit L, render. And that will bring our text back to the screen. Holding the left mouse button, position it in the center. Right mouse button, paste it down. Cancel the box. This time, right Amiga X gets us to the cut screen. We position the box over the type, and we are now able to move the type on top of our background because we've locked our background. Paste the text down using the right mouse button and the push pin. Move up to the screen box, select Flood with Color 0, and that should clear the screen. But when we use that, it's only going to clear the type because our background is still locked. We'll select a new preference. Extruded 5 again. We'll click Use, and this time we'll move to Render Shape. We'll go over to Box. We'll position the crosshairs and we'll drag a box that looks very much like the cut box. But what will happen is we will be generating a box with the preference we've selected, which is extruded. We can now position that box anywhere on the screen by holding the left mouse button. We can fasten it down by pushing the right mouse button and the push pin. We'll move up to the render text. We'll render some new text, sample screen. This will also be rendered and extruded. We'll position that down below the box to the lower right. Paste it down. We'll type in TV Text Professional. We'll render that. Position that to the lower right of the screen. Stick it down with the right mouse button and the push pin. We'll now change our preferences by hitting the F1 key, and that will take us back to the white type with the drop shadow. We'll type in sample combination. We'll hold the left mouse button, we'll move that up and place it in the center of the box. Click the right mouse button and the push pin. Click cancel to cancel the render box. And we now have a screen with a box and two different preferences. Flood the screen with color 0. This time we'll move to render horizontal line in the border. As you can see, we've got numbers in the bottom of the block. That is the thickness of our lines. So we're going to render a box. And as we render the box, we're still using the F1 preference. And that will give us a box that looks very much like a picture frame. This box was rendered with a line thickness of 2. We'll discard the box. We'll move up, and this time we'll do the same thing, only we'll use an 8 for a line size. You'll see now that the line is thicker because we've used a higher number. We'll discard this, and this time we'll change the preference. We'll go to gold bar, we'll click Use. We'll once again move up to render a box in the border section, and that will render a box, gold bar, in a thickness of 8. Holding the left mouse button can position the box anywhere on the screen. We'll discard the box. We'll move up again. This time, we'll move to horizontal line. In this program, we can generate a horizontal line with any preference we select. We've selected F1 for this one. We'll paste it down. We'll move up, and this time, we'll go to circle. This will render the outside diameter of a circle, rendered in preference F1. Holding the left mouse button, we can position that outline anywhere on the screen. We can render horizontal, vertical lines, circles, ellipses, and we can use all of the preferences in the preference requester or edit and make a preference of our own. By selecting line in the render box, we can draw a line. By holding the mouse button, we can stretch that line at any angle. Releasing the mouse button renders the line in the preference we've selected. We'll paste that line down. We'll move to rotate in the edit box. We'll select an angle of rotation. Release the mouse button. Take your crosshairs, draw a box around the object. And we can rotate the object any direction selected. If we place it down, and we choose this time copy, right Amiga C, draw the box over the object, we can copy the object without moving the original. We can paste that down, we'll select copy again, and we'll copy both lines to an exact duplicate. This can be very useful for building objects and screens. We'll clear the screen by selecting Flood Color 0. We'll select a preference by using our function keys. We'll select gold bar. We'll use the right Amiga key and we'll take render text. That'll bring up the render box. We'll type in the word character. Click render. That will render the text in gold bar. We'll position that on the screen using the left mouse button. Stick it down. We'll cancel the requester. We'll go to the palette selection to open. We'll move into the palette. We'll select a range of colors. By using the range, we'll select the preference range for gold bar. Click the gadget for on. Move the speed control up or down to change the speed at which the colors cycle. We'll click the gadget. We'll move the cycling the other direction. Once we've selected a speed, we'll click the exit gadget. We'll click the tab key, and that will turn our color cycling on. We'll flood the screen with 0. This time, we'll select a new preference from the preference requester. We'll render some text, and we'll demonstrate the different styles of text we can render. We can render plain, italic, border, or underline. We'll hit L. We'll render character again, this time in our new preference. We'll move it on the screen. We'll stick it down. We'll render this time italic. You see the render changes. It shows the italic. Click L and click render. That brings our last line back and renders the text this time in italic. We'll stick that down. We'll move to our render box again. This time we'll select underline. We'll type in the word character. You can see the underline in the render box. We'll click render, and that will render italic underline. We've set a color cycling range, so if we clear and cancel the render box and click the tab key, you can see that we've selected color cycling on our gold fonts. We can open our palette this time. We can select the speed, as you can see, and change the rate at which our colors cycle. We'll click close, click the tab key this time, and the colors cycle much slower. This time we'll go back to the preference requester, move down the preference requester until we get to emboss, click it, click preference palette because we want the preference palette, click use. We'll move into the render text. We'll type in the word Amiga. We'll click render, and that will render it with our new preference, which makes it look like the text is embossed in the background. Paste it down, cancel the render box. We'll move up this time and we'll select tile, position the crosshairs to the upper left, drag the box over the entire word, release the mouse button, and the program will automatically tile the background. We use the right mouse button. We'll move up to lock the background. This time we'll move over to render text. We'll select a new preference, which will be F1. We'll hit L for last line, render, and that will render the word Amiga with our F1 preference, which is white with black drop shadow. We can position that text anywhere on the screen by holding the left mouse button. Let's remove the render box. Now if we want to remove the type, we move to flood color 0, and because our background is locked, we've only removed the type. We'll unlock the background, we'll flood with color 0, and that will return us to our gray screen. We're going to load an object in now that was created in another program such as dpaint. We're going to load it as is, and that will load it at the color that it was created in. When the program does bring it in, the preference palette will be the palette that you see the object color in. We can move that to any position on the screen. Right Amiga key sticks it down. We'll move to the project box. We'll select palette and we'll select object, and that will show us the original color of the object. If we go back to the project box and this time move to palette, we'll select Default. And what that will do is that will remap the colors as close as possible to the existing palette. We'll now load our object as Auto Color. The program will remap the colors as close as possible to the preference palette. As you can see, our camera is now gray instead of green. By experimenting with different palettes, you can come up with a pretty good conversion of your 2D object. This time, let's render a preference. We'll use one of our cast shadows, Cast 2. We'll hit Edit. What we'll do is we'll move to Shadow. We'll go to Transparent. We'll click Use. We'll move up to our render. We'll move into our object. And we will render the object face. What that will do is that will render the camera object with the preference, which would be white with a black cast shadow. You can see the cast shadow is transparent. You can see the object is white. We've selected our function of F1, and that's what color our camera has appeared. We'll move up and we'll cut and reposition the camera this time using Right Amiga X or using the cut function. We'll hold the left mouse button positioned in the upper right corner of the screen. Click the right mouse button with the pointer. We'll go back to our render box. This time we're going to render face, not object face, but render face. We'll select the same object, and what that will do is that will render the outline of our camera rather than the face with the preference we've selected, which is F1. Rendering the face can be very useful when you're rendering logos. Let's clear the screen, flood with 0. This time we're going back to our preference menu. We're going to select Emboss this time. We click Emboss, we click Preference Palette, we click Use. Now we're going to render our object face. And as you can see, we've rendered the outline of the camera embossed in the background. We'll move up, we'll select Tile, we'll position the crosshairs and drag the box over the entire object, release the mouse button, and the program will tile the object on the screen. We'll flood with 0 again. This time we'll render the object face once again, the camera once again, and that will render our embossed outline. We'll use the right key and stick it down. We'll move up this time to Wallpaper. Drag the box over, and this time it will wallpaper the screen, and as you can see, the camera appears in a different position. Flood with 0. One more example is we're going to render the face, camera once again, paste it down. We're going to move up into the Edit box. We're going to select Rotate, select an angle of rotation, drag our box over our object, release the mouse button, and the program will rotate our object. This is very useful for logos or objects made in D-Paint that you want to bring into TV text to make a background. Right Amiga, pushpin, stick it down. We'll move up into our tile. We'll position the crosshairs and drag a box as close as possible to our object. We'll release the mouse button, and that will tile our object on the screen at a rotated angle. For our final example, flood the screen with color 0. We're going to dither a background, so we'll select dither. We'll select the angle that we want the dither. That will bring up the palette. We're going to mix some colors for the dither. We're not going to use any colors in the palette, so I'm going to select and mix a blue-green, a dark blue-green, by positioning the blue slider and mixing some green, and then adjust, click, and I'm going to count 4 palette positions, and I'm going to once again mix a blue-green, only this time I'm going to make it a couple of shades lighter. Now I'm going to pick Spread, and it will say 2, and I'll click the other position, and what the program will do is make a spread of colors in that blue-green range. So now I'm going to click Set Range, click the color I want, and that will set the range of blue colors for dither. Click the Exit Gadget, and the program will dither the screen in a blue-green. Our darker color in the lower right, our lighter color in the upper left. We're going to lock our background. We're going to move up now to our preference requester. As you can see, in our preference palette, the screen is brown. It's not the blues. If we change to screen palette, that'll be the colors that we've changed in the palette. So we're going to select screen palette. We're going to select a preference, which will be cast 12. We're going to edit the preference using the screen palette, not the preference palette. We're going to select the face color of gray, not color 0, but another gray, right before the blue-green. Use, and that will give us a gray. We're going to render our object, which is the camera, and we're going to render the face so we get the detail in the face. That will bring in our gray camera, just as we've selected in our preference. We're going to position that, right Amiga, push pin, and paste it down. We're going to go back up to the menu bar. This time, we're going to select fonts, get our font requester, move through it and select a font. We'll select the size. We also need to render the text, so we're going to select a preference. So we'll push F1. And that will take us back to our F1 preference. We're going to type in TV text. We're going to render. We'll place that on the screen in the center. Right Amiga key, push pin, sticks it down. We're now going to render professional. Right Amiga push pin, fastens that down. Now we're going to cancel our render box, go back to our preference requester, move down through our preferences until we find extruded 3. We're going to click extruded 3. We need to edit the preference, so we'll click edit and screen palette. We'll click face color, the palette will come up, and we'll pick a face color of the darkest blue that we have in our screen, which is down in the lower right corner. We click that, click the exit gadget, click use, and that shows our preference with the new face color. Using the right mouse button, go back to render, select box, position the crosshairs, and drag your box the size of the box that you want to render. As you can see, we rendered an extruded dark blue box. We'll position that, paste it down. We'll use the right mouse button, and we'll go back to the render fonts. We'll select a preference, which will be F1. We will now type in the number 1. We'll select render, and that will render a number 1 in the F1 preference. We'll position that, paste it down, remove our render box. Right Amiga period removes the pointer, and there's our completed screen with an imported object, a box, and text. To install the new default for severe overscan on TV text, click the TVT drawer, click TVT Pro, move up and click Info, move down in the info file, click down through the preferences, click the left mouse button to highlight the cursor, type in O scan equals severe, click add, type in screen equals high lace, add NUM colors 16, add, save. And that will save your defaults so that when you load TVT Pro, it goes into severe overscan. Remember also to save your backgrounds before you render text, and save your work every half hour you're working at the computer.
TV Show is a transition and effects program to be used with the backgrounds created in TV Text Professional. Saving to the hard drive is the same as saving TV Text Professional. It also includes a complete talking tutorial. Double-click on the Learn icon, and it will load the talking tutorial program for you. I hope you enjoy Scandinavian accents, because that's what the computer voice sounds similar to. But it is a complete tutorial that takes you step by step through how the program works.
This is the script window. You can access the TV show menu from this window. Before you can do anything, you must give your script a name. To create a new script, choose New from this menu. To edit an existing script, choose Read from this menu. A TV show script consists of a series of events. You build your script by adding events. You click on the Add button to do this.
So as explained, let's create a new script. Take the pointer to the upper left corner, hold down the right mouse button, choose New. On File, let's type in Player and choose OK. We're going to add an event, click with the left mouse button. A screen event, click with the left mouse button. Place Disk 1 in DF0, click DF0. Load that information in there. Then click on Screens, then click on Clear 704, click OK. Click left dwell arrow twice till key shows, click Done. Click Screen. Click DH1. What I'm doing is illustrating how I created the opening effects for the TV show opening. I'm going down here into the Learn directory. I'm going to choose the TV show screen that you saw come up at the beginning of this segment. There's the TV show pick. Click OK. Click to cut. To pick a different transition, pick a roll up. Put the dwell to 3 on that one. Click Done. We're going to add an animation now. Again, we're going into the directory to find an animation. In this case, the Zuma Group animation. Zuma Group, the makers of TV Text Professional and TV Show. Animations can be created in Deluxe Paint 3, as was covered in Video Production Volume 1, the tape previous to this one. So I'll choose Zuma 1 Animation. I'll set the delay to 3 by clicking the right arrow over there. Move the arrow over, click Done. We're going to add another screen. Place Disk 2 in drive DF1. Click DF1. Click Backgrounds. We're going to choose a background from that. Move your up and down arrows to access the different choices within the backgrounds. We're going to choose Blue Background, which was created in TV Text Professional. Choose a cut. Choose a different type of a transition there. Kind of a blind closing. Choose Done. Choose Object. We're going to load an object onto that background. The objects are located in DF0, not DF1. So click DF0. Choose Objects. Choose Camera Brush. Choose OK. The program now loads the screen blue background picture and also loads the camera object on top of the blue background. When it appears it has a crosshairs, position it where you want it. Once you've decided, click the Close gadget in the upper left-hand corner. Now choose an On transition. Choose that, Done. Next we'll choose an Off transition. meaning that the picture will come on in one way and go off in another. We'll also change the speed to a 10. Click Done. Click Done. Click Play to play the sequence. Let's play all the sequence we've created. Click Play again. Now loads the information of the screens and the animation. So this will begin from the very beginning in terms of the sequence. And in fact, I've added an extra image over the initial sequence that we saw. So we have the TV show screen coming up, and we have the Zuma animation, just as we had in the beginning of this segment. And in addition, now we have the screen load with the blue background, the camera appear, and the camera disappear on the two different on and off transitions. So we've completed an entire sequence here. Now let's save this. So we'll click Done. Go up to the menu, holding down the right mouse button. We're going to choose Save, and the revised player script is now saved. So we're going to move on to a new project. Going to load an animation of the spinning video camera that's included on Disk 1. So first we're going to title this new script. We'll name this Camera. Click OK. We're going to add an animation. Put Disk 1 in drive DF0. Again, go to the animation directory. Click Camera. Click OK. Next, set the delay time to 2, the delay time being the amount of time it stays on screen. Change the speed to 21. Click Done. Click Done again. Click Play. Play all. Click Play. It now loads the animation from the disk into the memory. Once loaded, it will then play the animation one time through for you. TV Show allows you to combine pictures, objects, and animations through a series of transitions. You create a script of these events and then save it. So we'll save this script. Then finally, to exit the program, hold down the right mouse button, go to Quit and Release. To install on the hard drive, double-click on the BT icon to open up the window. Move the pointer on top of the disk drive icon. Double-click again with the left mouse button. A window will appear that will inform you of what the process is. What we're going to do is type execute BT install to the device we care to have it go to. In my case, a second partition called DH1. Remember, no colon afterwards. Hit return. It then loads the necessary information into the computer, and this process takes several minutes. Upon completion, it will inform you it's done and return you back to the original window. Then from the partition that I've saved it into, I can move the box, holding down the left mouse button, taking the right mouse button up to the menu Special Snapshot to snapshot it in place. I can do a similar process for the window. Then close the other window to conserve memory before opening up the program. Double-click on the running man, and your initial screen will be a blue patterned screen. To begin, let's bring up the menu by pressing the right alternate key. The current choice fonts highlighted in pink. Press alternate again to view the submenus. Page through those with the up and down arrow keys. The first thing highlighted is color groups. There are 4 color groups to choose from: gray, red, yellow, and white. To move through the submenus, we use the right and left arrow keys. Press right arrow key once to be able to view the different styles of fonts. There are a number of fonts supplied with the program. Kara Chisel Serif, a color font, is accessed with F10. Press F9 to return to normal colors. And as you see, there's a number of fonts that are supplied: Sports, Swiss, Holiday, and the Kara color font. This is an example of the different fonts and the styles as they would appear on screen when in use. So now we want to get out of this. We want to go up to the menu above it by pressing the Escape key to move us up to the menu above. Now press the right arrow key to Edge, hit the right alternate key, and we're in the Edge and Shadow menu. Press the up arrow key to raise the size of the outline, as you can see. Let's take it back to a 2. Press your right arrow key to the size of shadow, up arrow key. We'll choose 6, as you can see. Gives you a choice between a cast and a fill shadow. This is the direction of the shadow, as you can see. And the last selection is for a 3D color font extrude or a solid shadow. Again, press your Escape key. Back to the main menu. Escape key again. Now we have a screen we can type text. Let's type sample text. Hit your return key. Hit your alternate key. Move back to the font menu. Press your alternate key again. Let's choose a different font. Let's choose the color font. Press the F10 key. Press the Escape key. Press the Escape key again to be back to your main menu. And again, type in sample text. Has to be all capitals for color fonts. Hit your return key. Right alternate key for the main menu. Right arrow key for Edge. Hit alternate again. We'll change this to a 3D extrude on the color font. Press right Amiga key to return to main screen. And again, type sample text, and you can see the difference between the 3D solid extrude of the color font and the black outline on the one above. Press the return key, press the alternate key, get back to the menu, go to font, press the alternate key, choose a different font, Swiss 70. Type with this with the sample text. Again, hit your return key. Hit your alternate key again for the main menu. Press right arrow key to page. Press alternate. Press alternate again on effect. And we're going to choose the third effect of teletype. Press your right Amiga key. That'll bring up a blue screen. Press F4 for continuous. Now we've created 4 lines of text, and we put a teletype effect on the page. Press Escape back to menu, page highlighted, alternate to effect, right to clear text, alternate again to clear the text on the page. We're back in the main menu, back to font, alternate key, choose a different font, Holiday 46. Right Amiga key, we're going to type all capitals, introducing. Hit return. I'm going to demonstrate now how to make different color font choices. First, by choosing the 4 color group settings. Go to Font, Color Group 2 for yellow. Going to type low cost, then hit return. Then go through the same procedure again. Alternate key, Color Group 3 for red. Going to type high performance. As you can see, we call this the propaganda page typing here. Then you're going to hit return again. Alternate key, up arrow, group 4 for the gray. Type character generation. Hit return. Alternate key, choose group 1. Right arrow to palette, alternate key. F10 key to go down your choices to 9, right Amiga key, then type in and effects. This allows you to choose from the reserved palettes to alter the font face color. To illustrate others, return to the palette menu, press F10 for the choice, as you can see in the upper left. It's at 8, down for 7, 6, 5, let's choose 4. Right Amiga key to return to the text screen. Type in plus much more. The next one we're going to illustrate to change the colors is to actually change the red, green, and blue values of the color itself. So again, return to the font, return to the palette, and the pink highlights whatever is current. Arrow that down till you get to face, which is your font color. Displayed below it, the red, green, and blue values of that color, controlled by the function keys, the current value to the right. So by altering the F1, F2, or F3 key, I can change the settings as shown. I've chosen a color. I'm going to type that on screen now. Your only limit is your. Hit return. Alternate back to fonts. Alternate back to palette. We'll change the color one more time. Press the F7 key to bring the green value down from 12 to 3, a choice of out of 4,096 colors. Hit right Amiga key again. Type in imagination. Next we're going to go back to the palette and set the face color to white. Press the F1 to bring the red up to a full 15. Press the F2 to bring the green up to a full 15, and the F3 to bring the blue up to a full 15, which is white. Return to the text screen, cursor up to the first line, and we'll do some editing functions. Press the Shift and Delete on the numeric keypad to delete a line. To insert a line, you press the 0 on the numeric keypad. The top line has not been fully removed. Press the Help key to refresh the screen to restore it to the original screen. If you perform an operation and it does not look correct, always press the Help first. Next, let's retype introducing on the top line, and next we're going to see how to justify the line, left, center, and right. So press your alternate key to bring up the main menu, over to line, over to left, press the up key that has now centered it. Again, you see we're going to require the Help key to restore that back to the original screen. So we'll press the Help key, and that's back correct. Move the cursor down one line. It can be controlled directly from the keyboard. Control-C will justify center line also. Control-L will left justify, and Control-R will right justify. Let's complete the page by centering and effects with Control-C. We've now created a page of text. Let's create a new page. Go back to Menu, choose Line, press Shift and the number 3 page down key to create a new page. As you press it, it creates a new page in addition, 3, 4, 5. To go back down, press the number 9 page up key, goes down to 4, 3, and back to 2 for our new page. Let's create some text on here. Let's first change the font size. Back up to Font. Let's choose Holiday 70 for a larger font. Back to text screen. Cursor down. We'll type your Amiga. Hit return. Control-C to center. Next, we'll vary the baseline of the text, lowering it by holding the Shift and the down arrow key to position it differently on the screen. Type NU to complete the second page of text. Then press the 3 page down key to go to page 3. Let's put a color font on this time. Hit F10 to make the color font active. Over to Edge. Let's lower the size down to 2 and put an extrude on that, a 3D color extrude. Then in addition to point something else out, let's go back to Outline. That way we're putting a black outline on top of the extrude to give it a more extreme effect as we title. So we'll move that down and we'll type sample text. Hit return, return again. Choose Holiday 70 for this sample to be typed. Return again. Choose Swiss 46 for this example and again type sample. And now we'll see how to take the font attributes from one line to another. Cursor up to the line you want. Press left alternate left Amiga key and the attributes are copied to the current line. Next, we're going to create some different backgrounds. Let's choose a Swiss 70 for the font size. Then hit Return to bring the line down to the bottom. Bring your menu back. Go over to Page. Go over to Pattern. First we'll choose Auto Rainbow and hit the right Amiga key. Hit the Escape. And as you can see, you have a full rainbow patterned background created. Let's clear the text on this. Let's choose a Swiss 46 for the font size. Again, return all the way down the screen to set the lines as it describes in the pattern for the page. Go back to Pattern. This time we'll choose Center Bars. We'll go down to Palette, and we'll create a spread of colors, being colors 2 through 7. Cursor down to the 7. We're going to set the red, green, and blue values of that to the red to 5. Leave green at 1 and set the blue to 5 also. Again, press right Amiga key. We've created that spread of colors in that patterning. Again, clear the text. Let's do another one. This time we'll do a full spread. Back to Palette. And through the F10 choices, choose 12, the blue spread. Press right Amiga key. And there's our full spread blue. Let's add some lines to this. Choose Line, choose Pattern. Let's choose a lit cylinder for this. Let's go over to the top and bring the top down to about 33. Hit the right Amiga key. Enters that for you. Now let's bring the line down to the bottom. Again, alternated pattern. Let's set this pattern to lit cylinder also. So move back to that. Choose lit cylinder. Again, right Amiga. Escape out of that. Now we have a background we've created. We're going to save it as an IFF file, meaning it can be loaded into any of the programs that we've been using. So again, alternate to main menu, over to File. We're going to choose Save IFF. Now in drive DF0, I have a formatted blank disk. I'm going to name this Blue 12 line, hit Return. Now saves it to that disk. Next, we're going to put some text on here. Type in Video Visions. I'm going to go down a couple lines and put Presents. Next, we're going to put some transitions to this. Choose Page. Go to Effect. And we'll choose Slide On for this one. Press F2 to get out of here. Press your mouse button. This is how it slides on with that transition effect. Let's change the speed on that. Go back to Page, go back to Effect, set 5, press F2, press mouse button. As you see, it's much faster. Finally, let's alter the hold time, the third category there. Let's set that to 403, and therefore it holds on screen longer. Now let's save this whole sequence. Go to File, go to Save Sequence, name it, hit Return. Next we'll convert some fonts. Double-click on the BTF converter icon until your initial menu appears. Place a blank formatted disk in drive DF0 and the fonts to be converted in drive DF1. Press F1, Return. Press F2, Return, to assign those destinations. Then press F5 to bring up a listing of the fonts in drive DF1. We're going to choose Digital Font 41, which is included in the 2-disc set. The computer begins to read it, going through all the characters until it is done, then informs you to hit Return again, and then writes that information to drive DF0 to your blank disk. To use the new font, escape out of here, load BT, choose File, choose Load Font, hit Return on BT Fonts Load, go to Font, go to your font selection, and cursor through that until you have your new font chosen, which appears as Digital 41. Next, we're going to load an object. Choose File, choose Load IFF. Having loaded Disk 1 in drive DF0, go down to Objects. From the Objects, choose Camera Brush. Next, go to Line, go to Picture, and we'll position on screen where we want the picture to enter. We'll move the left over to 192, and we'll move the top down to 54. You, of course, can position it where you choose to in terms of the background that you're trying to create. Press the right Amiga key, loads the object in. Next, we're going to set the different line transitions. So go to Line, go to Effect. We'll choose a slide to the right. Then go down one more line, continue the process, going down as many lines as is necessary as is the size of the picture. You could actually vary each effect on each line, but I want one smooth effect of sliding to the right, so I'm keeping the same effect on each line that I've chosen. So we'll finish up the process here, finishing up the last line. Then what I'm going to do next is add a line of text. So we'll go back to Main Menu, and I've decided where the line should go. Back to Font. Choose Holiday 70. Go to Palette so we can get the proper color on there. Go back to my favorite, number 12 on the F10. We're going to edge that also. Take it back to color group 2 to give me the blue. Corresponds with the 12. Then go to Edge. Set the outline to 2. Set the shadow to 6. Go back and put some text down now underneath the object of the camera that we've loaded in, and set the transitions on. I'm going to type in Live Tonight, Control-C that to center it, and I want to illustrate how to change the spacing between the letters. The Shift right arrow key increases the spacing, and the Shift left arrow key reduces the spacing, as you can see being illustrated. This is useful when sometimes you can't fit all your letters on the line, or you need to widen them to give a proper proportion. Next, let's copy this to another page. Choose Page, choose Copy, right alternate. Then Shift 3 page down to create a new page. Then choose Paste, alternate, and it copies that to the second page. Now let's remove that line of text, pressing Shift Delete key. Let's type in a new line of text, Amiga TV. Now we have two pages, page 1 and page 2. Press 9 to go back to page 1. Press Escape to clear screen, and we'll choose one of the sequence keys to run our sequence. F1 is to preview from current page, F2 plays entire sequence, F3 is manual play, and F4 is loop play. We'll choose F3, press the mouse button. It allows us to see the transitions between the two screens. Let's vary that a little bit. Let's change the transition on the Live Tonight. Go to Line, go to Effect, and have that slide on in a reverse direction. Let's view that. Press F3, press the mouse button, and there you have it. Pressing F5 removes the cursor from on screen. Let's begin by saving Pro Video Post to the hard drive. Choose a partition that contains the shell, double-click on the shell. I'm resizing the window for ease of convenience. Type copy JDK : space 2, whatever partition you care to put it to, or as they recommend if you've created an entire partition for it. In my case, DH2: hit space all, hit return, and it now copies all the necessary information into that partition for you. This takes several minutes. When it's completed, you next have to edit the startup sequence to assign this to that partition. So you type ed s/startup2, hit return. Move the cursor down with the down arrow key. A convenient place would be to place it under the make directory RAM, hit return. Push the up arrow key, then type in assign space JDK : space DH2: which is my device. Press Escape X and then return to write the information to the file. Then to begin the program, you open up the partition, then double-click on Pro Video Post. When the screen comes up, enter your serial number. It loads all the fonts in for you and all the correct information.
Sheriff Systems Pro Video Post.
And tells you who it is. So first we're going to press the F1 key to set the line size. Menus appear along the bottom. We have 4 sizes to choose from in the line. Let's choose the 80 size. Press the P key, which then puts every line on the page in 80 size. Next, press F2 to choose the font attributes. Let's choose 64 size on that. Press return. Then we have the color choice and the type of fonts. There are 4 fonts included with the package. Up and down arrow keys moving me through that. We'll select that style, hit return, and now type sample text on the screen. So we're typing a 64 size font onto an 80 size line that we've chosen. Now hit F3. We'll make that italicized. Choose on. Italics given the slanted appearance to the text. Now let's clear that line of text. Press F5. Move that over to clear line, text, hit return. Next we'll change the screen color. Press Shift F7 for palette, choose modify, move it all the way to the left. Color 0 is always your background color. R, B, and G stand for the red, blue, and green settings. Press the R till it's 5, press the B till it's 5, and press the G till it's 5 to give us that gray setting. A reminder, color 0 is always transparent video regardless of its color. I've set the background to gray to illustrate the shadowing and edging effects. First, take the italics off, then press F8 for shadow edge. I'm going to choose a shadow color, choose the black. There are 8 fill and 8 cast shadows available. We're going to choose fill 2 for this example. Then we'll choose a size with a Shift plus, take that up to 6. Then press E for the edging. We'll choose an edging color, again the same black. Press the Shift plus to take that up to 2. Hit return. Move your cursor all the way to the left with your left arrow key to start it on the beginning of the line. And we're going to type in sample text again. Now you can see it has the shadow and edge that we have chosen from the F8 menu. Hit return. Next we'll type on screen the 4 different font styles to illustrate them to you. We'll choose that font style. Again, type sample text. Hit return. F2 key, choose the next style, hit return, again type sample text, then we'll choose the last style, again F2, 64, choose the last style, type in sample text. We'll then move the cursor to the top line, press F8 and press P to apply the shadowing to everything on the page, every line being the same attribute. Press F6 to justify the line, choose Page Center. That will center all the lines on the page. Next, cursor down to the bottom line. And we're going to press F7 to underline. Choose your underline color, in this case white. And again we'll type in sample text, hit return. Type in sample text, and as you can see the cursor has a right angle bracket signifying the underline is in effect. So you want to type in sample text, hit return. Again we'll go to F6. We'll choose justify line center, press return. Now that is also centered. Next we're going to create a new page, but first let's remove the underline. Press F7. Press the minus to turn it off. Hit return. Press Shift F1 to go to a duplicate page. Press the up arrow to go to page 1. Press the down arrow to go back to page 0. Now we're going to copy the palette from page 1 to page 0 to bring it back to the normal palette. Select Copy. Enter 01 for the page to be copied. This is an easier means to return the palette to normal rather than going through the Modify. Next I want to illustrate the different colors that are available on the fonts for you. There are 16 available colors. Never use the leftmost color 0 because that will be transparent. But you can select the colors from the palette. As we've selected yellow from the palette, we can then return back, choose the turquoise from the palette. And in fact we have a selection from 4,096 colors available to choose from as the font color. One more example, we'll choose the green. Then next I want to illustrate the 2-color and 4-color font availability. Press Shift F2, go to Multi, choose 2-color, move over to your first color. Pressing the up arrow key chooses that as the first color. Move to the next color, press the down arrow key as your second choice, press the minus key to turn on, and there are 7 available styles included with the 2-color font selection, as you can see. We'll choose the split, then we have to return to the font menu, pressing F2 for that, to select the 2-color font choice. So we go all the way to the left, and there's a 2-color font choice. Hit return. Now we'll type text on the screen, and we have a 2-color split. Let's vary that. Press Shift F2, back to multi, back to 2-color. Let's make another choice out of the 7 available selections. Let's choose the metal look. We'll choose that, hit return, and that replaces the split with the metal look. Next, let's press Shift F2 again. Let's go to 4-color this time. 4-color has 7 choices available also. As you move through them, you can see the available types. And the colors that are utilized in this are colors 12 through 15 on the palette. So we'll choose this one. We'll type in sample again. And this is how the 4-color spread looks using that variation. In fact, you can determine the look by determining what colors you put from 12 to 15. So press Shift F7, go to Modify, cursor over to the last 4 colors, and by changing the R, B, and G values, you can alter the color of those 4 colors. Right now I'm altering the number 12 color, as you can see. And if you notice on screen, the bottom color is changing to a yellowish color. If I move to the next one, The next layer of colors will be altered. If I move to the third one, the third layer of colors will be altered. And then if I move to the final one, the top layer of colors will be altered in this example. By setting certain colors in certain ranges, you can achieve some very interesting and some very dynamic effects with the 4-color font. Next, F5, clear the page. Choose Shift F7, select to view the 15 different stock palettes that are also available to give you a choice of colors for your font or for background creation. This next example, I'm going to show you color cycling, and I'm going to select palette number 2. Hit Return, then choose Modify. Again, hit Return. I'm going to cursor over to the left and change the background color to a gray, making the R, B, and G values 5 each. And we're going to return and return out of that. We're back into the text entry mode. What we're going to do is choose a different color for each text element in this example. So we'll press F2 to get back into font. Choose the first color, all the way to the left, the first goldish color, and type a capital S, F2 again. Move it over one more color, type the A with that color. Continue the process, F2, choose the next color. So we're going to type SAMPLE, choosing 6 consecutive colors from the palette 2 choice. We complete this process, doing the L, and then doing the E. By choosing different palettes, you can achieve, again, different effects. So we've completed this now with the sample. Next, we're going to go to F8, Shadow Color. Choose the shadow color of black. Choose a fill of 2. Make it a size of 6. Press E for edge. Move the edge color over to the black. Press that up to size 2. Again, hit return. That applies those attributes to the text we've already put on there. Let's justify that into the center. Next, let's move the line down one. Press Shift F6, choose down. Go to double arrows to secure it there. You've moved it down one line. Press Shift F10 to set the color cycle. Go to Set, make this the first set. Choose the first color, press the up arrow to select that. Then cursor over to the last color in the color cycle and press the down arrow key to select that. By pressing the Shift key, we set the speed. There you see it cycling through now. We've not extended it long enough to include all the colors. So move it over one more, press the down arrow. Now it cycles through all the colors in that speed. Also, let's italicize that, F3. Now you have a color-cycled example of text. Next, we'll learn about the quick background feature. First, choose Shift F7 for palette, choose Modify, move over to the 9th color. We're going to alter this color and the 10th color after that to create 2 colors to be utilized for a 2-color font that we're going to use. So once we've modified those two by changing the R, B, and G values of both, hit Return, choose Shift F2 Multi 2-color, and we're going to choose the first color, number 9, press the up arrow, and the next color, press the down arrow, then press the minus key to turn it on, and we have our 2-color choice. Let's choose Quad this time. Now we're going to choose a font size to the left for the 2-color font. We're going to type in Video. We're going to F3 that to italicize it. Then we're going to press Shift F4 for the quick background feature. Choose Create. Press the minus key to select what portion of the line is to be used for the quick background. When you've decided, press return. We'll choose tile. Now it tiles the screen with that video pattern. Press escape for a full screen. Press escape again to be back in the edit mode. Let's delete that line. Clear the line, text. Next, let's save the background. Choose Shift F3, choose Save. In DF0, put a formatted blank disk. Choose the highest resolution. Choose DF0. Choose choice number 2 and name it Video. Hit Return. Next, let's clear the background. Choose Shift F4. Choose Off. That clears the background. Next, I'm going to demonstrate the grid line attribute. You press F9 for that to bring it up. First, press the minus key to choose a type, then choose a color white. Press the up arrow and the down arrow to secure it on a full line. There are 5 grid types: horizontal, vertical, square, right diagonal, and left diagonal. In addition, there are 16 grid pattern sizes, attributing different thicknesses to the grid pattern itself, as demonstrated as we now arrow through those. So when you've come upon a choice, hit return. Next we'll type some text up there. Type today only. When we've completed that, we're going to center justify that by pressing F6, choosing line center. Hit return. Hit F9 again. Hit P to extend the pattern all the way down the page. To remove the pattern, hit F9 again. Press Shift arrow up, Shift arrow down to remove the color. Hit P again, and it's clear. Next, let's go to F10 line background. Choose a background color. Press the up and down arrow keys to signify a full line. Press return. Again, let's choose a different color. Up and down arrow key, hit return. We can also have a partial line. Move it down 1. Pressing the minus key moves in the size of the line. You can also make it a 2 color. Press the white the up, the yellow the bottom, hit return. To remove it, choose the leftmost color, press up and down, hit return. Next we'll manipulate pictures. Choose Shift F3, choose Load, choose List. In DF0, put Disk 2, choose Backgrounds, choose Marble. Then choose Get. Then choose Current Picture Palette. Then we want to choose Manip from the manipulation option. We're going to size this, choose Size. We're going to choose both the vertical and horizontal. We're going to reduce it down to 1/4 of the size. Then you can position it where you want it to be on screen. When you find what you want, hit return. Now we're going to reset and do another example. This time we're going to do an angle. We're going to do a rotate. We're going to rotate it 45 degrees, clockwise, and that has rotated that as such. Again, reset for another example. This time we're going to angle the background. Then we're going to tilt it after we choose angle. We're going to choose the first setting. Then we're going to choose the size of 12. Goes through the manipulation for us. It's very fast and excellent in terms of manipulation of the backgrounds. And what we see now is the background tilted backward as such. We're going to add this picture. Choose the Add Pic. Press Return. It adds it to your picture list. Next, we're going to take the solid background again. We're going to put some text on it, typing in Pro Video Post. Then we're going to center that text. What I'm doing now is illustrating how I created this series of opening screens for the Pro Video Post segment. We're going to center that. Then we're going to save that as an IFF file. Shift F3 for picture options. Choose Save. Choose highest resolution. Again, in drive DF0, a blank formatted disk to save it onto. Choose entry number 2. We'll name this Marble PVP. Hit return. That then saves that to the blank in drive DF0. Next, we're going to create this into a walled background. Choose Manip, choose Wall, choose 4 times, choose 4 times again for both horizontal and vertical. It then manipulates the image into a walled image with 16 different screens showing. We're going to add this pic, so we have that picture available also. Now we're going to get the wall background picture to place behind the Pro Video Post text. We choose Picture Manipulation 1, hit return, and as you see now the Pro Video Post text has that walled background behind it. So let's save this image as MPVP1. Next, let's clear the text off this and then save the walled image as MPVP2. We therefore have all our screens saved. Now let's clear all the pictures. We're ready to start and create a sequence. First, let's load all the pictures that we've saved on that blank disk. Put it in DF0. It lists all the images we've saved there, marble being the first screen. So we load that in. Then we get that. If you only have 3 megabytes of memory, you may find that only 3 screens will load at one time for you. So we chose the marble screen, choose the picture palette, choose Shift F1, go to page 1, we're going to load the next image into that. Choose Marvel PVP, the Pro Video Post on that, get that, and we'll choose the picture palette from that also. Now we have 2 screens loaded in on the first 2 pages. Again, Shift F1 to go to page 2. We're going to load the next image into there. Same sequence as before. Then we're going to go to page 3 and load the final image onto there. And we'll go back to page 0. We'll press Shift F8 to choose what transition to go with this page. Being the first page, we'll accept the default transition. Now we're going to Shift F1, go to page 1, Shift F8, and choose a transition for this. We're going to choose 94, which is page peel up, which happens to be one of my favorite. Then we're going to set the speed by pressing the S to 3 and the D for the dwell time at 3. Then we're going to press Shift F1 to go to page 2, Shift F8 to go to the transition on this, and we're going to choose the page peel going down, which is number 95. Again, we're going to set the speed to 3 and set the dwell to 3. Then we're going to press Shift F1 again to go to the next page. Going to press Shift F8 to choose a transition for that. This one we're going to choose the page peel going up again. Again, setting the speed and the dwell to a 3 setting. Next, we'll go back to page 0, pressing the down arrow key until we get to page 0. Then we'll press Escape to be in the page mode. And by utilizing the mouse, pressing the right mouse button to move forward or the left to move in reverse, we can go through the effects. As I click the right mouse button, each effect on the page is utilized. Right mouse button again. Next, let's save the sequence. Choose Shift F5, choose Save, choose List. We'll put this on DF0 with the images, move it down to entry number 6, and we'll name it Script. Digital video effects is one of the powerful additions of Pro Video Post. In page mode, press Ctrl-A. You'll receive an auditory confirmation. Press M for menu. You can then go through the selection of the different DVE effects as you see. There are altogether 83 different digital video effects offering very professional attributes to this program. You can in fact load any image, whether it be from TV Text Professional or Broadcast Titler, to achieve these DVE effects. So I'll choose number 1, Zoom Out Top Center. And I'll accept the speed as 8, which is the first setting. It informs you when it is completed. By hitting the return key, you can see what the effect looks like. This is too fast. Let's go back and set the speed again. Hit Control A, hit the M. We'll change the speed to 64.
Ready.
Again, it informs you when it's completed. Hit the return key, and as you can see, the speed is much slower and a nicer effect. Let's try a different effect. Again, press Control A.
Enter DVD number or M for menu.
Press M for the menu. Then I type 41 for the effect. And I type 1 for the speed. And it then renders the manipulation for me,
Stand by.
providing auditory cues that increase in speed as it is completed.
Ready.
Again, hit return. Again, this is too fast. Hit Control A.
Enter DVD number or M for menu.
Enter
option
41.
Number.
This time I'm going to enter 2 for the speed.
Stand by. Ready.
Hit return. A much better speed. Experiment with different effects to achieve your own creative results. For page functions, be sure the cursor is on the top line, and to exit the program, press Control Q. Our top story tonight concerns the announcement of a new political candidate for president. Popeye the Sailor today threw his hat into the political ring. When asked concerning his seeming lack of political experience, Popeye replied, "I am what I am, and that's all that I am. I'm Popeye the Sailor Man, toot, toot." In an unrelated story, the National Dairy Association today announced it has developed a new genetic strain of milk that actually has the ability to transform matter. We have obtained exclusive footage of the event. Investigation into the matter continues.
This week on Nature's World, trees, man and dog's best friend.
On the computer scene, Commodore International today announced the release of its new Amiga 20,000. It has the ability to run all software, has direct output to a satellite dish, can cook clean, describe all of your past lives for a price of under $300. Available soon.
The following is an Amiga TV editorial reply.
Hi, I'm Rosanna Dodana, and I'm here to do an editorial on computers. You know why I like computers? Because I get to be on TV, and I even get paid to be on TV.
Opinions expressed are not those of the station. Responsible comment is invited.
Now let's go with the sports scores. Stay tuned later tonight for Amiga TV News Special Report, The Ram Game, Memory for Hire, hosted by Elaine Brock. Tonight's segment, The Forgotten Family.
It's wacky. It's wild. Coming this fall, Commodore Trivia Challenge.
I want my Amiga TV.